The American people are being disappointed by the parties that are to represent their interests. The only people not being represented right now in Washington, D.C. are the American people. Big businesses got a seat. All sorts of activist groups have a seat. But sure as hell, the American people are being told, go to hell.
Well, I just think when we turn to matters of immigration, listen, we're a nation of laws, and we believe nobody's above the law. I think that the conversation has started, and Mr. Cantor and Mr. Ryan have an opinion, and they bring that into our conference. They discuss it. I don't think you're going to see moving forward to an amnesty piece, which most people are scared to death of. I would say back home in the district that I represent, they say break it into smaller pieces. You guys have a bad record of handling big pieces bad.
Bob Goodlatte and the Judiciary Committee vote out 4 bills that make all the sense in the world and would be a major step toward. And the Republican Party, through the efforts of Goodlatte and the Judiciary Committee, took leadership on the issue of immigration and have just trashed it and thrown it away. It is as if Paul Ryan and Eric Cantor and those who want to play cute in the Republican Party have decided to trash Republican chances in the midterms. This could be facilitating the suicide of the Republican Party, and it's that serious. And people are acting like, well, we're elites in Washington. Whether we're Republican or Democrat, we can do what the hell we want.
Well, I can tell you, the people that I sit with in conference, they don't say those things, and they say that it's time to go to the conference table. It's time to sit down and talk seriously. Where I come from in western Pennsylvania, if it waddles like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. There's some pieces of this bill that on the immigration that we don't like. We need to talk about those things. That's what we should be doing. Now, saying that it's going to go.
You said the bill.
Well, with the piece that you're talking about, that Mr. Cantor and Mr. Ryan, that's the Senate piece, right? Yeah. Okay, what I'm saying is in the House of Representatives, I don't think there's a strong belief right now that that's the piece that they think should go forward. I do know this. We need to break it down, smaller pieces. First of all, we can't protect our borders. We can't do anything. We've got to make
sure it's done anything since 2000.
I hear you. Well, I got to tell you.
And that's at the insistence of the Congress that we build a wall.
I understand.
It is, so you understand, when I'm sitting here talking to our audience each evening, I'm straightforward with them.
Yeah.
The Republican Party is playing cute. The Democratic Party is supporting a president whom no one believes and 80% of whom, according to every major poll on the issue, think is taking the country in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Why the hell can't Republicans get that through their heads?
Well, I think what you're saying, the people you talk to, the people I talk to.
I'm talking about actually the folks you work with, 435 folks in the Congress, 100 senators, and 1 president.
But keep in mind, the position I hold, I represent 705,687 Western Pennsylvanians.
Terrific.
The message for me is not to take home to Western Pennsylvania what Washington says. It's for me to take what Western Pennsylvania says and bring it to Washington. I think you would find there is a very strong backbone in the Republican Party right now. I think that maybe the discussion isn't getting out the way it should be or the way we wanted to lead, but I will just tell you this. I don't see what you're talking about as a giving in on this, if that's going to be the immigration piece. I don't think it's going to be. I know the Speaker has made a commitment to listen, to hear us, to let us have that argument. Let's work it out. I mean, one thing I do know is this. We can't sit back and allow it to go on what's been going on and saying, it'll work itself out. In my lifetime, you let it work itself out, it usually ends up with a result that you don't want.
Here's the result that we have produced with the nonsense from both parties. And that is over the course of the past decade, because both sides wanted a whole loaf, whether it be amnesty, whatever it may be, we have produced absolutely no result for the people that ostensibly we're all concerned about. That is illegal immigrants.
Right.
Now, we've got to understand that everything that has been done by the Republican Party and the Democrat Party to this point is pure bull. And somebody's got to start talking and understand that the primary interest here is that of the United States.
I'm with you.
And I am really tired of the lip service that are given to those 705,000 people in a lot of other districts.
Let me tell you.
It's time to start talking about what needs to work in this country, and that is our middle class.
But the other thing is, we have 4.1 million people who have been playing by the rules and trying to go through a process to become U.S. citizens. I think if we were to turn our backs and those people say, you know what, you were foolish to stand in line. If you had stayed here long enough, we would let you in anyways. I just say this to you.
Who are these 400?
That's the people that right now in the process to become U.S. citizens. There's 4.1 million waiting in line to get their citizenship. They're going through the process. It's
citizenship, permanent residency as well.
There's a whole process that we ask people to go through. I don't think it's overbearing. If it's a little bit complicated, maybe we need to look at the system that we're in right now and say, how can we tweak this to handle that? Now, a lot of people talk about visas.
Let me just be clear, because I wanted to be sure I understood. The congressman is talking about the people that we're bringing into this country lawfully every year, who are facing in prospect many times waits that reach out to almost a decade to get into this country. They do not have the representation of La Raza, the Chamber of Commerce, the Business Roundtable, irrespective of what they may tell you, to facilitate their progress toward either naturalization or permanent residency. It is a shame.
Well, it's not a shame. It goes beyond being a shame. These people have done what they were supposed to do. I have friends who have come here. They've told me about the process. There's got to be a way with the United States, with what we know today, with the technology we have, with the ability that we have logistically to do things. This is horrible saying, what's taking so long? We've got to reform that process. I will tell you this. I think when I'm back home, people say, whatever you do, just don't make the first act of them being a citizen forgiving them a crime of coming here illegally. That kind of makes sense where I come from.
They tell you to do what?
Whenever we talk about, if they talk about amnesty, and they'll say, you know what, Mike, if we grant these people, we give them citizenship, you realize that the first act we will give them as coming here illegally, we're going to forgive them for committing a crime. That doesn't make sense to the average American. And if we're truly doing things that are good for people, and my main concern, let's make sure we're doing something that's good for the American people. Let's make sure we're doing things the right way. I don't think it needs to be this hard, but you hit the nail on the head. It becomes politicized. And all of a sudden, it turns into something it doesn't need to be. It turns into political, not policy. We have to get down to what we have to do to improve our country.
There are people who have spent over $1.5 billion in Washington, D.C. to lobby on one issue. There is no close second to the amount of money and the energy and the effort that has been spent on promoting amnesty as the solution to illegal immigration in this country. It's astounding. And you guys need to tell these K Street artists to go to hell. Now, when you guys start showing that kind of guts, I'll start hallelujah, of course. We're going to have to...
We have to break, but I'll tell you what, there's nobody backing down on this. If everybody thinks this is going to be whitewashed and just an easy pass in, that's not going to happen. We're going to do what's best for the American people.
Well, I hope so. And
we will. That's what I took an oath to do, Lou.
I take you at your word.